Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our second installment of our Agent Inspiration Series as part of our Surge training. This morning, really happy to invite Keith Vong of the Vong Group at Antero Silver Creek to join us today. Keith has been a great realtor, great friend for many years now for me, and I love his story on a personal level. I love his story on a professional level, and I thought he would be the perfect person to talk to us as we get ready for the coming week and the second stage of Surge, reaching mastery. We've done a really good job, all of you who are attended consistently every day, on getting reintroduced in some cases or introduced to some of the basics, some of the core functionality that we need to understand as realtors to really service and help our clients. Next week, we're going to put a new emphasis on mastering, going deeper into each one of those skills, each one of those systems and training. And it's all going to be about how you adapt and how you adopt all of these things and how you execute. And Keith is a perfect example of that. Not every agent starts on top. We understand that at some level, but we often forget it because we are so much in our own grind, so much in our own system that we only have time to look up very shortly. And when we see these top producing agents, these team leaders that seem to have it all together, we forget that they were once where we were, either getting started or in a rut or struggling to move to a new level. So this is a good time to listen to Keith, listen to his story, really take in the things that he's applied, where he's failed, where he succeeded, and never losing sight of where he wants to be next. So with that, let me introduce Keith Vong of the Vong Group. Keith, go ahead, share with us your story. Even though I've heard it, even though I know it, I'm still excited to hear it again. I'm really excited to see you grow from just an individual agent to a really dynamic team leader. Now, someone that has a voice within a company like Antero, a voice within an organization like Tom Ferry. I know you're close with that group and you give almost as much as they give you now. And I think all of that will be really good for all of us to hear this morning. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Keith. And thank you again, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you, Robert. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. I guess, you know, when Robert approached me, you know, it was such an honor to speak to all you guys here today. Is that he wanted me to talk about mindset. I was like, cool, you know, that's my thing. You know, that's what I want to do. You know, and I was so excited. And then last Friday, as I was on the call, listening to our mega rock star Keith Walker, I was like, oh shit, I think Carol gave my presentation and all my talking points to the wrong Keith. You know, I was like, oh crap, you know, that one. What am I gonna talk about this Friday? You know, so I sat here, I go, you know, now you guys have no choice but to listen to my life story, you know, how I came about into real estate, you know. So, and as I was thinking, you know, what I want to do, you know, what exactly do I want to talk about? You know, should I start from my military days, how I learned discipline? You know, should I start from 01 to 08 when we made tons of money, you know, got rich off the loans and then went completely broke, or you know, or should I start from the day when I completely hit rock bottom? I think, you know, and how I was able to go from, you know, from broke to making my first 100K 4 months back in real estate, you know. So I figured starting from rock bottom seems like a better story for all us realtors, you know, because we always like want to get motivated one way or the other. So a little bit about myself. Like once again, like Robert said, my name is Keith Vong. I'm married with 4 children. Ages 4, 14, 10, 7, and 4. I am a full-time baseball coach. I'm a full-time realtor, and I'm a full-time team leader. You know, I'm able to balance all that thanks to you know, the guidance of Robert and a lot of great coaches that came through my life. You know, before I got started in real estate, this is, you know, I was a jack of all trades but master of none. You know, I was that guy that had excuses on top of excuses, you know. And so pretty much it was always somebody's fault, but never mine, you know. So God forbid, you know, when I hit rock bottom, I was blaming God knows who to God himself, So pretty much, just 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 as I thought I couldn't hit much more rock bottom, you know, uh, my major turning point in my life, the story I want to share with you guys was that, I relive this moment a lot. Was when my son came to me. At this point in time in my life, I didn't think I could hit any much lower. But what really turned my life around was when my son approached me. I remember this day. I remember this day very clearly. My son approached me and said, "Hey, Dad, can I have a cheeseburger today?" I was like, "Sure, son, let's go." So I took him, went to McDonald's. I ordered a Happy Meal. Went up to the drive-through window, gave him my debit card, and it bounced. I said, forget a Happy Meal, just give me a cheeseburger. Try to charge just for that. I remember it was like 59 cents cheeseburger. It bounced. And I was like, oh shit, now what? So I remember I written a check a few weeks back, what I thought I had $26 already because of my overdraft fee. They took it off. So I had zero money. So I said, hey, no problem. Looked through the car, trying to find some pennies, couldn't find any. I went home, like most of us, we dug through the couch, dug through any kind of drawers, etc. I couldn't find 59 cents. And I remember that, I remember clearly. I broke down and I didn't want to cry in front of my son. I went to the backyard, I walked in a circle and I just started crying, I say, how the hell did I get myself here? What was it? What did I do wrong? And then that's when I told myself, I will never ever want to live this moment again. I need to change. I need to change now. Whatever I do, I don't care what it is. This is the moment that I need to change and make a better self for myself. I cannot allow not being able to buy a cheeseburger for my kids. This is not how I was raised. And this, be having a military background, fuck this shit. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do this. So what I did was I decided to change my life. And I told my wife, I want to be a realtor again. This is the only way I could figure out all I know how to do. I started researching all the top brokerage firm, around my area. Went to interview. One of the first firm I interviewed was one of our franchise. I went there. I said, hey, this was my story. I told him, I'm 3 to 4 months behind on rent. I probably can't pay for the MOS, and I borrowed money here to get here. If you give me a chance, I'm going to be your #1 agent. I remember the broker at the time say, hey, thank you for coming. I'll go ahead and shoot your number to another branch manager. He's gonna give you a call. That call never came. And I remember interviewing with Coldwell Banker, KW, and pretty much gave them the same story. And they nicely walked me out the door and say, hey, it looks like you have a lot of problems in your life. Fix that and come back. I don't think we can help you at the time. And I was like, oh my God, I can't even get hired as a realtor. This is horrible. This is 2014. Nobody want to hire me. And then I went back and I sat there again. I say, if I just knock on the door, someone's gonna hire me. So I remember I grew up in San Jose. I grew up in Evergreen, and I remember that there's this beautiful office up in Silver Creek. I was like, I wish I could work there. And I looked up the office. Who was the manager? It was Robert at the time. So I borrowed my mom's van. I said, Mom, can I borrow $20 for gas? I gotta get down to San Jose from Newark. I got this gentleman I want to interview with. She's like, sure, son, go do it. And my mom let me borrow $20. And at the time, I just had knee surgery. I was on crutches. So I drove down to Silver Creek looking for. I remember Sylvia approached me and said, hey, I'm here to look for Robert Cruz, and I really want to work for this office. I want to interview. And they're like, dude, they're at Tom Ferry event, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, where's this at? She goes, I told you, I believe at the time was at the Doubletree or somewhere around there. And I was like, shit, I don't have $20 now. I gotta drive back to downtown San Jose near the airport. So I drove there and I went to that event looking for Robert. And I think Robert, as you remember, I came up to him. I said, are you Robert Cruz? I didn't know how Robert Cruz looked like. And someone directed me to Robert Cruz. He was standing there talking to someone. And I remember tapping on his shoulder and say, are you Robert Cruz? He goes, yes. I go, I want to work for you. If you hire me, I practiced this speech so much. hey, Robert, I'm 3 months behind in rent. If you give me a shot, I'll be your #1 realtor. And he turned around and said, you know what? How about this here? I don't have time right now. If you want to, let's have an appointment. Come back. I believe it was next week. we'll talk. And it was kind of funny. I was like, okay. And he was, hey, will you want to stay for an event? I was like, sure, I'll stay for it. So I walked into this meeting. There was tons of realtors there. I was like, what the hell is this? And I clearly remember this scene, because from that day on, I started dressing like him, and however he approached, I tried my best to be like him. It was like, was this gentleman on stage. He was wearing jeans, I remember, boots, and he has this t-shirt on. He has his blazer on. No blazer, I mean, what do you call those? The vest. He's walking back and forth talking. And for those of you that knows me, for many years, all right, that's how I dress. I looked at him, that was the first thing I saw. I was like, who is this guy talking about real estate? And I remember him talking about Tom Ferry, how great Tom Ferry was. For those of you coming, I looked at him and he goes, for only $125, you could go ahead and sign up for this event and come down to our thing. I go, I don't have $125. How am I supposed to do this, So we went back and forth. And after that event, I came home to my wife. I was super excited. I said, honey, I got this interview. Robert really wants to see me. He probably didn't want to see me at the time. I was just trying to pump her up. I said, dude, I think if I go there, he's gonna hire me. So long story short, met up with Robert and shared with him the story. And what Robert did for me was very, I guess, to me to this day, I always remember it. I went there. He goes, so what do you do for business? How was your business? I said, Robert, I wake up every morning at 6, 7 o'clock. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm out in the door. I'm door knocking NODs. That's all I do. So you've been doing this for like 6 to 8 months? I said, yes, I have. That's all I did. And I'm broke. And he's like, dude, you're door knocking totally. Why don't you take that and start door knocking, instead of the 5%, let's door knock the 95%. Just in life, sometimes you just need that little shift. Like, and by him shifting me that way, I start instantly seeing result, and really that really turned me around. And today, as he, that was my story. So as he asked me, come share this with you, I want to share that brief moment in my life where it really motivated me to do what I want to do. And, and what really triggered more and more as time went through, for those of you that are struggling, was this is really classic for me, because for me, everything I do for my family. Truly believe that was my why. This is when I discovered my why, was that I remember joining Silver Creek, listening to Robert every day, and I didn't have a schedule. I didn't know what to do. But Robert was very structured at our office meeting. He would have, I remember, like every Tuesday, we would have to go to this brokers meeting. Man, this is brand new age. I would just attend it because I didn't have a schedule. And every Wednesday every Monday was his motivation. I think it was our jump start. And then Tuesday it was the brokers meeting. Wednesday was our office, and then Thursday was stats. I was like, dude, I have a schedule. Every morning I have a reason to get to work, And for me, being broke, when I drive from Newark down to San Jose, it's about 45 minutes. There's no way in hell I'm going to try to drive home because I can't afford it. So I have no choice to be stuck at the office every day, attend these meetings, and then do something with my life, So I think the #1 thing was, for me, was just be able to join a great office that had something that I could attach onto myself, a schedule. If out of all things, I accomplished one thing. I came into work and did something. So that was my first initial taste of being a realtor. My second initial taste was that when I remember I did sign up for the Tom Ferry. I came back, my poor wife, our life saving at the time was 0 probably. But when I signed up for Tom Ferry, I bought my mom's credit card. I signed up for Tom Ferry. It was $100-some. And my wife came in to me and said, honey, I applied for a bunch of credit cards and Capital One approved us of $350. We have enough money to go down south. So I took this $350, packed up my whole family in the car, drove down to Anaheim. And the first night we slept in the car. I remember sleeping in the car and with $350, and then, my kids' Disneyland was pretty much watching fireworks in the parking lot and walking to downtown Disney and playing Just walking through it. And they thought that was Disneyland. It's sad to all say, And Legoland, they had a little shop at Legoland. My kid was running in and said, "Oh my God, I'm at Legoland." I looked at her and said, "Yes, you are. You're at Legoland, son." That was it, And when I was at Tom Ferry, I couldn't wait to Thursday because it was giving out free meals, and that was my lunch. And I would try to take bring a lunch back, And then every time anytime anyone was giving out free apples, food, that's all I ate. I didn't have any money, and then I was always checking my accounts balance. And I remember clearly at Tom Ferry when I heard Linda speak. And this is where the turning point where I say, hey, if she could do it, I can do it too. Linda was on stage. She was talking how her husband has passed away. Her daughter has cancer. And she's taking care of her little granddaughter. And she was sitting at her desk and she pulled out her gun and put the gun in her mouth. And she was about to commit suicide. Before her little, I believe her granddaughter at the time was 5 years old or something, that came in and stopped her. And she stopped. She didn't pull the trigger. She goes, "I got to take care of this little one." She went from a grandma that has a dead husband to a daughter with cancer to raise this granddaughter. She made her first $150,000 and changed her whole life around financially. And I'm saying, if that old lady could do it, so can I. And I remember going home to my wife and say, "Honey, spend all the $350. Just make sure you have enough money to get gas home, because I know this is going to be all right. We're going to make it. We're going to make it." It was August 13th when I got home. I remember it was August 13th when I got home. And by December 31st, I made it. I did over 22 transactions. I think 16 was closed. I made over $100,000 under Robert. I was so excited, And I think what it really triggered was my mindset really, really shifted after Tom Ferry, after listening to things. So with that said, I want to share you what are the 3 things that changed my life and what led me to where I am. The things that I started applying the moment I came back from Tom Ferry, the moment I came back with Robert's help and mentor. This is where my slide, I guess, will begin. Is every morning when I wake up, I tell myself, wake up, kick ass, and repeat. And I mean it. I wake up, I kick ass, I repeat, And I put this saying here first because, I never really understand my dad a lot, because my dad and I really didn't get along until as I got older. And he always tells me, "You're lazy. You never work. All you want to do is just sit there and you don't want to do anything. You gotta get up and do something, And he repeats his face since I was a kid. "Son, I never saw a hardworking person fail in life. Son, I never saw a hardworking person fail in life." I was like, "Shut up, old man. I don't want to hear about that." And when I got back to real estate, I applied this number 1 rule: work hard and you will never fail in life. That's what I did. I grind my butt off, And the first thing I did was to change everything around. I start doing my gratitudes. My gratitude looks like this today, but before it wasn't like that. My gratitude was like, I started doing my gratitude every morning when I wake up. It's like, I'm grateful for God for giving me another chance to get in real estate. I'm grateful for God for a loving wife who supports me in everything I do. I'm grateful for loving children who loves and cares for one another. I'm grateful for Tom Ferry. I'm grateful for Nichiro and Robert Cruz. I'm grateful for Bill Pice and Annie C. I'm grateful for all of my current clients, my past clients who consistently love me, consistently refer business to me. I'm grateful for my family and friends who consistently refer business to me. I do this every day, guys. I like it or not, I plant this into my day. And when I say it, I mean it. You have to be grateful for everyone around you, whether it's good or bad. Be grateful that it's a lesson you learn from them or how they teach you. Always do your gratitude. Affirmation. This is my beauty of my affirmation is that, I never really did affirmation before. And when I started to do my affirmation, I noticed something. Things that I input in my mind I started attracting to, And when I first started in real estate, I was like, dude, how am I supposed to compete with all these people, I remember interviewing some of the top agents in our office. They're like, "We do 10,000 mailers a day, Keith. We do 10,000 mailers a month." Roughly. I was like, "Dude, I can't do 10,000 mailers a month. How am I supposed to do that? I mean, I don't have the money financially to kick your butt, so I can't beat myself." So I say, "Hey, how about this here? If I don't have the check equity, why don't I have the sweat equity? I'll walk 10,000 mailers. How much can that will be?" And in reality, post stamps 50 cents a month, 50 cents per stamp. So if I do 10,000, I make 5,000. I'm reinvesting 5,000 back to myself. That was my mindset. And to start that mindset, you know, every morning when I did my affirmation was I always tell myself, I'm a great agent. I'm an elite agent. Everything I do will result me being a great agent and elite agent. You know. And I start, and then lately, you know, and then throughout the year, I start adding. I attract easy buyer, easy seller, and easy agent. Everything I do results in myself attract the easy buyer, easy seller, and easy agent. Not lying to you. I've been saying that for about the past 5 years, and that's all I attract. I don't have bad buyers. I don't have bad sellers. I attract easy buyer, easy seller, easy agent. And everyone I work with, I attract easy buyer, easy seller, easy buyer. And that's something you have to tell yourself, you know, affirmation is thoughts and words that becomes things and becomes reality if you repeat it over and over and over and over again, you know. And last but not least, you know, I love this one. I write this one down, and I do this all with all my kids. We would get up, and you know, we would just stand up like this. I'm sorry, Miss. I say, you know, and then we always go. I am determined. I am focused. I'm powerful. I'm unstoppable. I'm financially unstoppable. This is my time, right here, right now. Let's do it. And this is how all me and my kids would do it. And I mean it. And that's how we do it. I teach my kids this, and I can see my son. And you know, when he plays baseball, he's like, he can see. I can see when he says it before he has the bats. I go, yeah, that's my little man right there. He's doing his affirmation before he goes up there, before he bats. You know, those are things that you want to do for yourself and really, really make it important for yourself. You know. And last but not least, goals. This is my goal. What I've written today. I say this every morning. Every morning I repeat my goal. I will close 75 transactions by December 31st, 2020. I will make $1.5 million of commission money by December 31st, 2020. I will set one appointment today before 5 p.m. I will make 25 calls today before 12 p.m. I will enter 10 new leads into my CRM by 10 a.m. I will put my buyer, Angie Morano, into contract by 7 p.m. today. I will call Jazz Seller in Morgan Hill to follow up on my listing. I'm listing his house by 9 a.m. today. I always have my main goal, and I will always have what goals I need to do today, and I always have a time to finish it. If you don't put an ending date on any of your goals, you'll never accomplish it. You know, I read this thing here. You know, procrastination is one of the most beautiful things in the world because you always have something to do tomorrow, and you have nothing to do today. You know, so those are things that you got to remember. Like, you know, don't procrastinate. Set the time on all your goals, and you should be able to accomplish it. You know, how am I able to do all this? When I get up in the morning, most of you see that some crazy time. Sometimes I get up at 4, sometimes I get up at 4:30. I'm gonna share just rule number 1 with you guys. What I do every morning. The moment I get up, outside of brushing my teeth, drinking a glass of water, my first thing I do is 20 push-ups, and then as I do 20 push-ups later, and I'll do my gratitudes. I'll do another 20 push-ups, then I'll do my affirmation, and then I'll do another 10 push-ups, and then I'll go over my goals in my head. Your goals should be in top of your mind. You should always have your goal in top of your mind at all times, and revisit that goal in your memories 2 or 3 times a day. Then I'll do 25 sit-ups, and then I'll sit there, I'll meditate, and I'll breathe. You know, breathe in, breathe out, and I'll do 25 sit-ups, and then I'll do that determination. I'm determined, I'm focused, I'm powerful, I'm unstoppable. Those are things that I do every morning when I get up. That's the first thing I do. And number 1, now I'm getting fit. I'm doing my gratitudes. I'm doing my goals. And there are little things that you can do. Everyone can accomplish. Here, at all things, if I fail that day of not doing any other stuff, I accomplished the workout, did my gratitude, did my affirmation right away off the bat. So like it or not, at the end of the day, you did something. You accomplished something. It's the little things that we want to do. You know, so before I let everyone go into some of the questions, I always call this my drunken monkey rule. And this happens a lot in real estate. When you come into the office, there's a lot of drunken monkey, energy stuck in vampires. And I always say, not my monkey, not my circus. Walk away. Don't get involved. Come into work, do what you need to get done, and get going. Do the little things that matters. You know, do little goals. If I wake up in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, I want ice cream, I will go to 7-Eleven and get ice cream. Because I just accomplished goal. That's what I teach myself all the time. If I want to do something, go do it. If I want to buy something, go buy it. The reason for that is because you start training your subconscious mind that you're accomplishing little goals, everything. If you want to eat a certain kind of food, like this morning, after this conversation, I'm not lying to you. I am going to drive to Blossom Hill and I'm going to have myself some Mexican coffee and a breakfast burrito. I'm not lying to you. I'm going to get that today. That was my thing last night. I was thinking about, shoot, I haven't had that in a while. I will go do it. Does that make sense? So do the little things, finish easy goals, whether it's a personal goal, life goal, or even in business. Always do the easiest thing first. Don't go here and try to write this business plan for 2021. Don't sit here and try to accomplish your 5-year vision today. Do the little things that will lead up to there. And failure is the lesson, not a punishment. You know, I always truly believe in that. If I'm gonna fail, I'm definitely failing forward. I'm not lying to you guys. I will fail forward. You know, and I fell a lot. You know, but yet I'm always accomplished. One thing that Robert and I always talked about, I would come in here. I remember the first 3-4 months in the business, and we were doing our business planning for the following year, 2015. Everyone stood up. All these agents. We were at this place that Robert had, and everyone stood up. And said, "I'm gonna do 10 deals. I'm gonna do 12 deals." I remember standing up, saying, "I'm gonna do 40 transactions." This is me 3 months into the deal. I'm gonna do 40 transactions. I'm gonna make my first $500,000 in the business. And everyone looked at me like I'm smoking crack. Who is this agent here? And I remember another agent, a seasoned agent, came in and tapped me and said, "Hey, young gun, I'm glad that you're motivated, but you know how much 40 transactions it's gonna take? You think you can do that there? You might want to lower your goal." I looked at him like, "Oh, I'm gonna prove you wrong." And he was right. I didn't do 40 transactions. I think that following year we did 33 transactions, and I failed pretty miserably. Did not hit my goals. You know, so like it or not, set goals that you cannot achieve, but you are gonna shoot your ass and work your butt off for it, you know? And last but not least, have fun. You know, seriously, you know, what other jobs that you could get that could pay so much money in this business that you can't take anywhere else? I mean, if I want to make $2 million in business, I can, if I choose to. If I want to make my first $100,000 in this business, I can. If I want to make $100,000 my first month, I can. Does it make sense? At the end of the day, is what you put into your head. That makes sense. Your limitation is set by you and no one else. Robert and I, or Robert could do all these search training every day to show you what to do. If you don't do it, you ain't gonna get there. You know, and at the end of the day, motivation will go away. You know, the boring stuff comes along. Working, grinding every day is what's gonna get you to the top. You know, and I'm so fortunate, you know, to have all this stuff here, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, going back to rule number 1, if you work hard, you'll never fail. And that's pretty much, I guess my Friday presentation is going to be to Robert.
All right. Awesome job, Keith. Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, really, really powerful, really passionate. You know, sitting here listening to your story when you say you hit rock bottom, it's really funny, right? Because a lot of us share stories like that. And it's really interesting when we intersect. Now knowing where you were at that time, you know, it's really interesting. If I had known that you were that bad, because I remember you walked up to me and you introduced yourself. We were at Tom Ferry at the DoubleTree, and you introduced yourself and you said, "I'd like to work for you." And I said, "Well, if you want to work for me, you set an appointment and you show up in my office," right? And what if I had known how bad you were? What if that would have changed my perspective and maybe felt sorry for you and started telling you everything was gonna be okay. And it's funny because I didn't know that. I forced you to go into the way I built agents, the way I train them, which is, you know, it's just the job and it's just things you do and you just get them done. There's nothing, you know, I don't treat people better or worse because I know them or like them. I just try to get the best out of them. And you did show up. You did show up at 9 on time. It was the next day. I guess you borrowed another $20 to get there.
Yeah.
But I do remember, and I was asking you, what are you doing? What you left out was that you were walking doors every day. You were walking hundreds of doors every day, and you were in crutches. You were on crutches because you're not just a Marine, but you're a veteran, and you had an injury, and your knee is not in great shape. And so then I learned that, and I said, well, this guy's I can't pay people to walk, and this guy's in my office saying he wants to work for me, and he's on crutches door knocking with a knee that's going to fall off literally if he keeps walking. And so then I looked at you and I said, where are you knocking? And you said exactly that. I'm knocking NODs. And I paused and I told you, do you know you're waking up every day and the doors you're knocking on, there's only a 5% chance that you can work with them. And you're walking right past the other 95. So it wasn't the hundreds of doors you were knocking on, it was the thousands of doors you were walking by.
Correct.
And I always say, I know the numbers, I know the stats, I know the things you need to do to be successful, but I can't teach you passion, I can't teach you determination, I can't teach you drive. But when you have that, it's unstoppable. And I just simply told you, go get your NOD list and skip every one of them and knock on the neighbor door.
Yes, you did.
Right?
Yes.
Didn't change anything you were doing. Just skip the list and go to the next door. You just elevated your chances by like 5,000% because that's not an NOD, and what's selling right now is not NODs. And that was our first meeting, those first like 48 hours that we knew each other. And it was a lesson for how we've worked since, where you're always willing to do what we said. I always joked, because the way I structured my meetings was I needed to make sure I brought value every hour. And so I worked hard to like, this hour, I'm going to deliver something that's going to make me productive and make money for my agents. And I would joke that more often than not, you would leave halfway through the meeting and I discovered it's because you just heard the first part, didn't care how to do it. You're just going to go do it before everybody else. And it worked out.
It did.
And it's just that passion you have. It's that drive you have. And then I hope, when you mentioned Bill Pipes, you mentioned Tom Ferry, you mentioned Andy C., and I hope I'm part of that, is all people that have experienced success or know the path to success and are willing to share it. And you hit it on the head. And the first part is someone sharing or showing you how. And then that's the 5%. That's the little bit. The 95% is then you go do it. And 5% might not seem like a lot, but it's the path that will allow you to put in your ambition, put in your drive, put in your passion to make it work. So I don't know if anyone has any questions for Keith. Someone says, can they go door knocking now? And someone's asking if they could have a copy of your affirmations, Keith. I don't know if you can share that.
I'll share that slide with you, Robert.
And so I have a point to that. Maybe you can speak to it. So I often hear that top agents share their affirmations and people want them. And what I recommend, and I would love your opinion on this, if you don't have yours, read Keith's every day, Vong's or Walker's. But eventually they have to become your affirmations, right?
Correct. I mean, when I first started, I didn't read my own affirmation. I took what I learned from all these events and from what I hear from these top producers they talked about, and I would take that and use their affirmation as my own. And gradually, I mean, when I first started, to be honest, when I first started, I was just, my whole affirmation was I want to be a great agent. I want to be the lead agent, And the reason for that was, I'll share a quick story, was that one of my closest friends I grew up with ever since elementary school all the way up, I would go to his house 2-3 times a week, and I would play with him. I would just talk to him. We were talking about consistent all the time. He went and purchased a $2.5 million home through a builder and not bring me. And I found out when he invited me to his housewarming party. This is my best friend. And then, to make matters worse, his sister decided to buy a house next to him, and he took him to the same builder without bringing me. So I was really, really upset. Like, why did he use me? Why? And at the end of the day, I said the best. He didn't use me because I sucked as a realtor. I didn't know what I was doing. So, at the end of the day, it was my fault. It wasn't his. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I need to be a better agent. So I took that thing and said, hey, I am a great agent. I'm a lead agent. And everything I do result in me being a great agent, lead agent. I start putting that into my mind, and I start visualizing, how does a 5-year agent look like me? How does Keith look like 5 years from now as an agent? And I start living that life the moment. I start talking like him. I start acting like that 5 years. I start doing things that really triggered me to it. That's why that was my first affirmation. And then once I start becoming that, the second affirmation was, how do I work with, because I work with such tough file. How do I work with easy client, easy seller, easy money, and easy agents? And I start putting that into my life. And then now it's all I attract. And then now all I do is I just do things that make sense. Whatever I want in life, I put into my affirmation, my goals. And you have to do that. You have to tell yourself that the universe is very powerful. If you ask, it doesn't hurt asking. I start developing this sense of mindset, Robert. I start asking for things. If I always believe, if you don't ask, you'll never know. So I'll wake up to the universe. I say, dear God, please give me more listings, more appointments, more sales today. Not, you know, and then now I go, dear God, please give me more listings, more appointments today and for the rest of my life. I'm not lying to you. I literally ask for the rest of my life. And every day when I wake up, I get random people calling me, already asking me to show them houses that I never met and talked to before. But I truly believe that's because of my affirmation and my thoughts, you know?
Yeah. And so you mentioned how you started with one line, and then
Yes.
as you grew, you added the other two. And so for everyone else out there, if you don't do affirmations now, read Keats, but build the muscle of doing it every single day, and then you'll build yours. You'll change them. And Sunita asks a really good question, kind of on the same line, because she says, "What is your schedule nowadays?" And that's another really important part of your journey, because you were grinding and you were working and you were going in circles. And as you started getting focused, as you started getting and listening to training from a lot of great coaches, you started doing the things they did, and eventually, is almost as your income increased, as your productivity increased, you had more and more free time.
Correct.
Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I'll start passing flyers at 5 in the morning. That's when I first started. I would literally, I know that Robert's office meets at 9 o'clock, or no one comes up at 9 o'clock. I always want to be 300 to 400 flyers ahead of anyone that ever wakes up. The moment I walk into the office, everyone's walking, I can't wait to pass out flyer today. I say, I'm 400 ahead of you. You keep thinking. And then the moment when they pass out flyer at lunchtime, I'm dropping another 200 flyers after lunch. And then before they go home, I'll go home and have dinner with my family and say, honey, I'm off to pass out flyers again. I'm always grinding. And to me, it's like, if I put in, I always want to beat myself and I always want to be ahead. I told, if I can put myself ahead, that's how I do. So that was my schedule when I first started off. It was because I had no appointment, no clients. I have no choice. I have to do what it matters to me. But as time goes through now, how's my appointment? Well, how my time, because now that, you know, I made a little bit of money, I don't have to drop flyers. I still do just for exercise, but I could do mailers now. You know, I could be one of those agents that, yeah, I mail $10,000 a month. You know, I put myself in position for that. And my schedule is a little bit different now. I mean, if you really want to know what my schedule is today, as we speak today, I will attend every training in the morning with Robert. And then now with script practice, I break it into my own team script practice. I work with my team, and then I'll make my calls. And that's my schedule. I can't door knock no more because I have to substitute for that. So instead of door knocking, I'm doing mailers and I'm making calls. I mean, I don't get on the phones. It's not like I don't like the phones. I mean, I came from a sales background. I can make tons of phone calls, but now under COVID-19, I have no choice. So now what I'm doing the past 5-6 years, I have to change completely in the past month or so, pounding out the phones. And then we had a talk this morning, Robert. I said, dude, Robert, thanks to you, I'm just so overwhelmed with business, and my team's overwhelmed with business that I don't even have time to run off again and to do other things. Once again, ability to adjust and adapt, and things are always changing. You just got to make sure you change along with it.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And then another thing that you shared with me, I think like a week ago, is that you were doing the you've been doing Surge along with us, and you sent me an email, and you had posted your your mindset, your activity, and rated yourself on each level on each day of serve. I remember the first day you were like, you were 9 out of 10, you were motivated, you were pumped up, you did all the activities, you did all the things. And then I think like on day 5, you said, well, you know, my excitement is like 5 out of 10. I didn't do any of the activities. And you were judging yourself, rating yourself, whatever you want to use every single day of the surge, so that you, in my opinion, because I know your training, is you were analyzing, where am I on this path? How it's working? You're always measuring, and
Yes.
you're reporting back to yourself on how is this working? How am I applying it? Where am I at? Where do I need to be? Can you talk to that?
Yes. So when I did this, I said, you know, Sam, I need to track and measure, because oftentimes we get really motivated. I think for me is, I always see, after I train so much realtors that come through, I see a trend. We get really motivated when we attend a event or a guest speaker out to share the story. We get super, super excited. And that excitement goes away very quickly after 72 hours. And after that, then what? You know, what do we do? So I said, I want to track myself through this whole search training. To this day, I still track myself. And I want to know what are my feelings. I was very honest with myself. Whether I worked, did I show up, did I miss something? I wrote all that stuff down because I want to see how I felt for 30 days straight of just tracking search and where my progress was. And it was literally up and down. I mean, I fell off the rail a few times. The track, I fell off. I came right back on. I fell off, came back on. But at the end of the day, after all that tracking, I noticed something. I just kept coming back. And I'm not lying to you, 50% of the surge, I forced myself through it. But yet, by me applying, coming back, and just doing it slowly and not really pushing myself too hard on it, I'm able to do a lot of deals, a lot of transactions. I've been going to see a positive result, and I go, holy cow, just imagine I apply 100% on this, which I'm not. But I'm gonna do it. If I apply 100%, I don't think I could be here talking to you guys. I might need a whole army to run my leads. You know, so it's just crazy how things are. You know, how things are and how reality is for me. Just tracking myself.
Keith, yeah, 2 of the questions I think you can answer quickly. One is, how many are in your farm? How many homes are in your farm now? And then Patrick asked, do you have time to read? If so, what are you reading currently?
I love reading, but I also love Audible. It depends, give or take. I mean, these are some of the things that I read, and you saw my books in the back. I have tons of books I read. I mean, I'm always reading, but I caught on something. I took a speed reading course about right before COVID hit, and I could run through books now. And on there, it taught me something about Audibles. To listen to Audible on 2 times speed. You could finish a 3-hour book in an hour and a half. So when I'm driving my son to a baseball game, I'm on the road, I pop the Audible on and I'm listening at 2 times speed. And then recently I resetted my app. I went back and listened to it at normal speed. I can't. So yes, do I read a lot? Yes, I do. And once again, you know, what are some of the great books I like to read? I mean, the first book I ever picked up, I always say this here, is you know, why and how come that idiot is rich and I'm not? This is the book that made me that idiot. In this book, it pretty much, a quick wrap of it is, it tells you like, hey, by the time, if Robert tells me there's a pot of gold on top of that hill, by the time he's done saying on top of that hill, I'm running up that hill. I don't care what the path is. I'll run on top of that hill and I'll tell Robert, hey, there's no gold, there's gold. By the time you sit here and analyze why Robert's telling us the pot of gold, he's not getting it, I already got it, guys. So this is the book that teaches you how to just do it. Stop questioning what's around you and just do things. You know, he's not going to sit here and spend hours and hours doing training to have you fail. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. So that's the book that teaches you. And once again, the 4 disciplines, can't go wrong. #1 book, probably one of the top books I read. And like it or not, slight edge, doing little things at a time. And I'm always listening to things in terms of what Patrick said. I'm always listening to Audibles. I'm on Audibles every day. Any chance I get to pick up a book and read, I will pick up a book and read.
You just gave away a little secret. So our 4DX, for those of you that don't know, is what Jess and I are using to develop this whole surge program and what you're operating in. and we'll reveal to you the whole book and the plan soon. But you also just introduced our next assigned reading, which is The Slight Edge.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that on Monday morning. But, I asked Jess what book he thought that we could use to really operate under the second stage of surge. And he suggested The Slight Edge. So fantastic book. Things you can read over and over, or listen over and over to, as Keith was saying. We'll talk about that more on Monday. We'll introduce it. But since you showed it and gave us a nice plug, not knowing you're going to do that, I thought I'd take advantage. So I think that's all the questions we have. Keith, I want to make sure you have time for that Mexican coffee and burrito. I want to thank you for your time. And I want to thank everyone else that's on for listening. We're going to send out and share some of the affirmations. We are recording this, and we'll send the link as soon as it's ready to the office, because these are things you can listen to over and over and over. And I really appreciate you being honest, being open, being raw, Keith, including some of the words you used, because it's real. And I know they felt the power. I know they felt it. And here's where we are as humans. That really hits us when we hear that you couldn't afford a cheeseburger for your son. That really hits us. But I want to challenge everyone that's listening, put as much or more on the joy you hear in Keith's voice, the success he's achieving now, because that's what I want to focus you on. Because he's a great guy and he's a great realtor. But I don't think he'd be offended if I said he's not any more special than any of us listening as a realtor. As what does he know about the market? Of course, when you start doing 30, 40, 50 transactions, you get really good. You can't help that. But he wasn't when he started. It was just he focused on, I'm just going to trust the system. I'm going to trust people that have done it before me. And because his goals and desire matched up with what we were teaching, what Tom Ferry was teaching, what Andy C. was teaching, that was the magic. And so that's where I want all of you to focus on. Wherever your story is now, whatever you feel you are in your real estate career now, those lessons of following guides, following the tracks of people who have reached the goals that you have set for yourself now, and just rip off and duplicate, which I just ripped off and duplicated from Tom Ferry, is all you have to do. And then you're going to apply your own desire. You're going to apply your own skill. And it may take you may not do 100,000 in your first 3 months like he did. Maybe it takes you 6 months. Maybe it takes you a year. But as long as you measure, you'll share the progress and you will grow. And so I'll leave it with that. Thank you again, Keith. Thank you to everyone else. Keith, if you want to just say goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Go have your burrito and coffee.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. Have a good day, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you guys at 9:30. We're script practice, and I hope you have a really powerful day, motivated by what Keith shared with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.